All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what the federal income tax return filing software actually looks like. So I buy mine every year at Costco. They are $29, $39, $49, depending on which level of need you have. I usually buy the middle one because that also gives me state income tax in addition to federal, because my son has worked in Oregon. So Oregon has state tax, Washington does not. When I buy it next year, I will not have to buy the state because Brady will have worked the entire time in Washington only. Okay, so let's take a look at what it looks like. Again, I use TurboTax. I believe that's pretty obvious once we start looking at the screens. Some self-promotion in there. Yes, so you can see TurboTax Deluxe is the type. So where do we start? The first thing they want to know is, what is your status? So you have some options here, and it tells you on December 31st, 2018, you were what? Most of you, for your first couple of tax returns, will probably be single, but your options are single, married, in a registered domestic partnership, divorced, legally separated, or widowed. And as I said in my last video, Brady is single, I'm married, and my mom is widowed. So I do each one of those. Each one has a different situation. So we are looking at my son Brady's income information here, and I've changed all of the personal information just to protect his identity. So step number one, what is your status? You can't claim any dependents on your 2018 return because you can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's turn. So I want to explain what that means. I was claiming Brady as my dependent, and we covered what a dependent was in my last video. So Brady lived in my house. So I pay for his housing, I pay for his food. So he is my dependent, and I claim him on my taxes, which means that he can't claim himself on his own taxes. So just be aware of that if you're still living in someone else's home. Okay, so going a little bit deeper into dependent, we have this screen here. Can anyone else claim you as a dependent on their tax return? We have to go with yes, because as his dad, I was claiming him as a dependent. And yes, I will be claiming him as a dependent on my tax return. So they want to make sure that everybody is accounted for. So if I didn't claim Brady as my dependent, which gives me a benefit, Brady could have declared himself, and the numbers might be different. Definitely better for me. I don't know that it would have changed his outcome because of his situation. All right, the next step is your personal information, and I changed the name to Frida M. Hayes. We have a made-up social security number here. This person works as a server, claimed by dad, living at home, single, and living in Washington, no dependents, and the mailing address and phone number. All right, now we're going to start entering information from our W-2, and in that previous video, I explained what a W-2 is. In another video, I will share a picture of what a W-2 actually looks like. So you have a document, a W-2, that is either mailed to you or you access on your computer. You just take the information from the W-2 and you put it directly into this software. And so what we have here is we have the employer's federal ID number. This is the ID number of the person you work for. So this is the ID number for Brady's company. He worked as a server for Red Lion. The name of the company was TFBP Holdings, and I believe this is their actual number. I didn't change that. This is their address. I changed Brady's social security number. The control number comes directly off the W-2, and then your home address, right? So pretty easy. Any information you don't know comes directly off of the W-2. Okay, now, we are going to enter all of the federal wage information from the W-2 that Brady got. He only had one this year. So he made $18,735.86 total for this year. And this was a couple years ago. All of these numbers come directly from the W-2. You just copy them over. So you have a piece of paper, it says box 2, and this number is in box 2. So you put it into the software. So the amount of federal income tax that was withheld from Brady's $18,735 was $1,646.44. And we're not going to cover Social Security taxes withheld, Medicare tax withheld. That's a different lesson. Okay, so once we enter the information, we have this number up at the top that has now updated, and it says that Brady is due to get back $973. Pretty groovy, right? Okay, so now we have a little summary page. Brady's total income, wages, and salary was a total of $18,736. That was his total income. You can see up at the top, $973 is where we're at right now for our refund. Super easy. All right, the next step is deductions and credits. And we covered what the definitions of those were in the previous video. But this is like taxes that you pay, property taxes, if you have kids, different scenarios. There's a list of them here. So the two that are here is your home and your family. So you've got children and dependents. You've got that earned income credit I talked about, adoption. I believe there's also some for foster parents would enter that in here. Write-offs that you can have for your home. You've got mortgage interest, refinancing and insurance, property taxes. Let's say you put solar panels on your house, you can get tax credits for that. So just different scenarios, different credits. So you as new income earners are probably not going to be getting any deductions. You're probably somebody else's dependent. You probably don't have any kids, and you probably don't own a home. If you do, you are doing fantastic. So in the immortal words of the Soup Nazi here, no deductions for you this year. Okay, that's it. You're done. You may not believe me, but it really is that easy. So we end up with these summary pages. TurboTax does a check to make sure that you've entered everything that it thinks that you should have in there. Gives you a review. So this review page right here, you've got your total income. You've got your standard deduction of $12,000, which reduces your taxable income. So Brady only had to pay taxes on $6,736, which means the federal government only wanted $673. He had actually paid $1,646. So that means he's getting $973 back. So he overpaid. Now, if you had, let's say that you had paid no federal income taxes that year, you did your W-4 paperwork so that they were taking no income taxes out, you would have to write a check to the federal government for $673 in order to pay your tax bill. TurboTax runs a program to see what your audit risks are. It's looking for anything that might flag on the IRS side, which would make them take a closer look at your tax return. And as you can see here, it's very straightforward, very basic. There's nothing that we could have falsified here. All right, so now what are you going to do with those fat stacks of money? I'm only kidding. I would like to do a public service announcement that gambling is never a sound investment strategy. Never gamble with money that you can't afford to lose. All right, so that's it. That's the software. Super easy peasy. When I'm doing this at home, it takes me less than 30 minutes to do my son's tax return. It's just that fast, that simple. And we electronically file, which means we hit a button and it sends all of that information electronically to the IRS. Done. And then Brady just waits for the money. All right, so the next assignment, the next video will be introducing the assignment that I'm going to have you guys do for federal income taxes.